My chance would probably come already the next day. What was a Friday when Madeline's parents would take Madeline and Alexander for a weekend trip to Legoland, a famous amusement park in Denmark. I would stay at home with Matilda, who was too young to go. What was perfect for me because Madeline was booked for a seminar at a nice hotel for Thursday and Friday the following week, and I needed further information before that. Friday evening, when Matilda was sleeping, I began my investigation in our den, where we had two desks against a wall. Madeline's laptop was on her desk as usual, but I found it to be password protected and gave up after several attempts when all my attempts failed. Hacking passwords isn't my game. Why her laptop, what probably contained all answers, had to be left as a secret. Madeline rang, said that they were at the hotel. Then she asked about Matilda and hanged on immediately when told she was okay. I continued my searching, and my next challenge were the lock drawers in her desk. It was rather simple locks, which is why I bent a pin and probed the locks and began with filing small alterations to the spare key that fit to my own drawers. An old saying says, "It is a shame to give up," and I didn't do that. Why my efforts got a reward after some time when the first lock opened. But the only thing what maybe could be of useful in that drawer was a folder with information papers about her next conference, and nothing of interest in the next drawer. Even so, it looked to be a real conference, not some fake thing. But in the third and last drawer I got a real bingo. When opening a small plastic box, I found 4 cond, obviously from our nightstand, and a blue pill of unknown origin. I've never had any need for blue pills yet, and obviously neither Madeline's lover had any own supply of those. Why she had found some other source for getting a guarantee of getting hard conference C. If you're enjoying my content, consider joining my Patreon community. By becoming a patron, you'll get access to full parts of my videos much earlier than everyone else. Plus, you'll be supporting me to create even more awesome content for you. Check out the link in the description to join now. Madeline was temporarily off of birth control pills for a medical reason, why we were using C from a supply in my nightstand, while her doctor found out a solution to her problem. I had bought a 5 dozen pack, and so would not have noticed the remaining quantity. In that drawer, I even found an USB memory stick what I examined in my own laptop, and found that it contained pictures from some of her company events. The main part of them was very innocent pictures without any kind of nagging. Most of them were obviously taken by Madeline with her cell phone because she was visible at only a very few of the pictures, obviously taken with another camera because of the very high resolution. The only almost non-existing clue was that there was always a blonde, rather handsome guy near her. A new closer examination of the USB stick shoved that she had taken several pictures of that guy alone. Some pictures had him sitting at a table besides an empty seat, what indicated that the photographer might have used to sit there. All that interest for the blonde guy could hardly be by any chance. But the question about their relation remained unanswered. Was that guy her lover, or only a coworker and a good guy? My next question ought to be, who was that guy? Madeline's photos gave me neither any evidence about cheating nor any information about the favorite guy who looked to be close to her. Then, in an official yearbook from her job, I found a folded A4 paper from a color printer. The picture showed Madeline and the blonde guy sitting in a sofa and kissing. He had lifted up her skirt with his right hand and held it on her inner tight, so almost all of her legs were visible. Under the picture, somebody had written, "Great legs, my darling. Indeed, great legs," and signed the message with Kim. Here, Kim is a unisex name used for both boys and girls, but the only Kim in the conference participant list was a Kim Sturbin, why I supposed him to be Madeline's admirer. Now I could regard the results of my investigation as a real bingo, as both Kim and Sturbin are so unusual names that collecting further information about that chap would be a real piece of cake. Though no further information was found in the drawer, I was already 100% sure that Madeline was that Kim behind my back, and a necessary action had to be taken. What gave me a busy Saturday? First, I began with the phone register had only 3 Sturbin and only one of them a Kim, who shared his landline phone with an Elizabeth, but both had different cell phone numbers. That convinced me of being on the right track. A new law in this country forbids purchasing credit and personal information from commercial sources without valid legal use for it, and the target will always get a printed copy of the sold information via mail. One of my friends from the Mole Gang had access to a fictive real estate company in Gibraltar, used as buyer of the information, and that company was mentioned in Kim's copy. No trace of me. Though both Kim and his wife had good jobs, they had surprisingly high debts. Otherwise, there were no visible problems in that information. An almost average family with one child, a house, and two rather old cars. In my opinion, the main problem in Kim's family was that he, without doubt, F my wife. Of course, there were no evidence about that. So far, only some strong clues. Then I took Matilda to get a McDonald's meal, which is a very big thing to little children, and afterwards we went to my job where we used highly water-resistant green stamp color for marking some items. I took a little quantity in a small bottle and went back home. At home, I went to my workshop and got a syringe and needle that I uses for oiling a wind-up clock plus a little tube of super glue. I carefully opened Madeline's 4C packages, took out them, and injected the green stamp color into it, making a tiny hole, and sealed them carefully using the super glue. I had to do 7C to get 4 that looked perfect. I wanted the green color on his C, not in her P. It would take them many days to wash away the water-resistant color, as they could not use strong cleaners on such tender parts. Alexander called me at Saturday evening and said that everything was wonderful, that it had been very good time for him, why he was eager to tell me all about everything he had done during the day. When I wanted to speak to Madeline, Alexander said that Mom and Granddad was down to the reception in some errand. Why I said that Mom can call if she wants to later. She didn't call and obviously didn't had anything to say me. I suspected that Rupert, the teetotaler, and his daughter had sneaked away to the hotel bar for some secret drinks. No further phone calls from Madeline during their trip and back home at Sunday evening. For some reason, she began arguing about Madeline's accident. I thought you could look after the children for a few hours at Thursday evening, but obviously that is too much to expect from you. Not even you could watch a child at every minute. When trouble happened, I reacted quickly and properly. Sorry I had to disturb you in your fun activities. Anyways, many thanks for interrupting whatever important things you were doing and coming to the hospital, I replied, and for a split second I saw a feared look in her face, what meant that my words had hit the right target. She shouted, "What the hell did you mean by that?" "Just what I said. I'm glad that our children still are more important for both of us than our other interests." That reply ended the arguing. Monday and Tuesday went fast without any further arguing from Madeline, but even without any attempts about S from any of us. The main question in my situation when knowing for sure that my wife intended to cheat me was, shall I give her a hint about knowing what's going on so she can cancel her plans? After much thinking forth and back, I decided it only fair to give Madeline a warning what could save our marriage if she cared to do that. Before going to bed at Wednesday evening, I told her, there are rumors about warm feelings between you and somebody who is going to the same seminar as you are. If this marriage means anything to you, and you want to remain married with me, please skip all intentions about F anyone there. Madeline reacted much harder than expected and shouted, "You must turn crazy and don't dare to touch me tonight." I got the last word by saying, "Don't worry, you are back to your old self, so I have no temptations in that." She left for her conference early Thursday morning, and during my lunch break, I went to the court office for divorce papers. Back home, I checked her drawer, and just as expected, her C-box was gone. Now the only important question would be, did they go for it immediately after they got their rooms, or had they so tight agenda that there were no spare time available for such pleasures? If so, they had to wait until after the dinner at the evening. My guess was late in the evening because I'm sure that they even went to the bar for some chat with other participants. Also, did they have the lights out? Because the longer they went not knowing about the ink, the more it would get spread around. You can be sure I took no pleasure in the end of my marriage, but I was taking some great pleasure in their coming embarrassment. Rupert used to take night rather early during the weekdays, why I switched my landline phone over to forward to his number. No harm if his slight boozed and very angry daughter gave him a wake-up call with frantic shouting when she thought that it was me, or me who pretended to be Rupert. My cell phone was set to vibrating mode, so it wouldn't disturb neither me or the children. But it was laid on my nightstand where it began to vibrate at about 11:30 and did so every 10th minute for the next hour and a half. Before my children and I left the house next morning, I switched back the landline phone and listened to some of the voicemail messages on my cell phone. I could hardly say that my marriage was a happy marriage that day. Far from that, because my dear wife shouted and cursed me in all her messages. "What the hell have you done? Be sure that you damn stupid male pig shall pay a high price for that idiotic trick. How shall I get rid of that damn color? Call me at once." Why should I reply to such vulgar messages? Besides, there was nothing I could tell her. I couldn't avoid her calls at my job because they would bother other people, and took the first one only a few minutes after coming to the job. Madeline shouted, "Are you happy now? Do you know what you have done to me?" "Done what to you?" She shouted. "Don't pretend to be innocent. You know very well what I'm talking about." "No, I don't have a slightest clue about what you are talking about. Are you accusing me for doing something wrong?" Now, she sounded stressed and said with lower voice, "The C, you idiot." "What C? Why are you using at your seminar? Are you cheating me?" She continued, "How shall I get rid of the color? Why are you using colored? Are colored different? Thanks for confessing your seminar F. You know the consequences." Now she sounded desperate and asked, "Please tell me how to get rid of that damn color." "Don't ask me. I've never used colored. Ask your boyfriend. It ought to be his problem rather than mine." I waited for her answer, but she ended her call. Only a few minutes later, I got a phone call from Rupert who asked me about if his daughter had got some problems because she had rang last evening and obviously been in a terrible mess. I replied that she had called me only a few minutes earlier about some problem with C. What will give Madeline serious consequences for her marriage if she's using it and cheating when she is away from her husband at a seminar. No doubt that Rupert and his wife would have an interesting chat about their now obviously less pretty daughter.